Hi everyone, welcome to a new game called Etheria Restart. Now, before we begin, I will first off say that I'm not quitting Haze Reverb. I'm playing an additional game alongside it, and I'm sort of doing a bit of a feeler video to see how much interest there is for this game. Because I know everyone here is subscribed because of Haze Reverb, and I'm still going to continue to make Haze Reverb videos. But yeah, I am enjoying this game, and I thought I could probably do both games and cover. Mostly still will be focused on Haze Reverb, but I'll do some Etheria stuff as well, depending on like the ideas that I come up with to for videos to make. But this video will be more of like a blog style video because currently it's the start of day 2 and I've done 1 day's worth of leveling up and progression, and the idea will be I'll just talk about the things I did during the first day and show you some key things on the account that I would recommend you to do, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. If there's enough interest, I might continue doing some more videos, at least over the next couple of weeks during the progression phase. I think this is probably the most important part of the game, and I think after that, once we're fully into like just being able to farm all the highest difficulty dungeons and stuff, it'll be less important to do this style of video. But yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, let me know if you are playing Etheria Restart and whether you're interested in the videos. And yeah, I'll decide on how much I will continue making those videos, right? Now, starting off, I personally didn't reroll in this game, but you can if you want. It is a little bit annoying because there's no guess system, which a lot of games do have. So you would basically have to use salted emails and basically do that if you want to reroll, right? The reroll process is not too bad. It's a little bit time consuming, probably about 15 to 20 minutes once you know like the route and clearing it all. It's not too difficult. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of like cutscenes and stuff which you can skip it, of course, but yeah, there's a bit of time that you need to use to get through all that. But if you are planning to reroll, it is fairly reroll friendly because there's a lot of tickets that you'll get at the start of the game, right? But if you are going to reroll, the reroll targets will be any of these 6 characters. Generally speaking, most people will go for either Mio, Heinrich, or Lily. They're probably the 3 best out of this 6, but any of these are worthwhile to keep if you want to. I would say the lowest priority might be Messiah, because I think he's fairly replaceable, whereas like Mio, Heinrich, and Lily have a lot more unique hits. Sanya as well, but Sanya is more of a late game character. Therefore, you won't really make use of her in your early game progression if you do pull her. But you could pull her for future farming because she's one of the best units for dungeon farming. Because she can do a good speed run for most dungeons. Mio is a new unit that got released with the launch. She's basically a great crowd control unit. Has a lot of freezes and stuff like that, so that she's very powerful for both PvP and PvE. And then Lily is like a turn manipulator. She boosts attack bars and buffs attack and stuff like that. She's quite strong. One of the best support, if not, yeah, I would say the best buffing support unit at least. And Adoki is okay. I don't remember her kit exactly, but I think she's like she's also a turn meter booster, but I think she's not as good as Lily. Yeah, but that's just my personal opinion on that. You can pick whoever you want. If you don't want to reroll, that's also fine too. I personally didn't reroll because I didn't want to spend the time doing it. Plus, I value the amount of like the time of being able to farm and like all the stamina regen and all that. for progression, I'd rather push that. And I feel the game is already quite free-to-play friendly. A lot of free-to-play players have gotten multiple light dark units, which are basically the rarest units in the game. If you play other games that have similar light dark systems like Epic 7 and Summoner's War, you'll know how powerful they are. It's sort of the same in here, but they are a lot more obtainable. Even more so than Epic 7, which is already, I feel, quite generous in how easy it is to get the Moonlight Nat 5s, and these are sort of the equivalent, right? Now, when you do your actual rerolls in the summons, you'll want to do it on the permanent banner, because in this banner you can get any unit in the game, including the light dark SSRs, right? And this is what people will roll on trying to obtain one of these. There's this Apex, Apex tickets. Don't use, or if you want to use them, use it on this banner, not the targeted banner. Don't use crystals to refresh for this, because they are 3 times as expensive as permanent summons. Even though technically you have better probabilities of getting the light darks, it's just not worth the amount of crystals. You're just better off spamming the crystals on permanent banner instead. And the general pull strategy is you want to pull on this banner as much as you can and get as many of at least the normal SSR units as possible before you use the targeted summon. So you'll get 1 targeted summon, and this is technically the beginner banner. And on this banner you can pick any one of the RGB SSRs. I want to take note that Ling Luo is a free unit that you'll get after 7 days, so don't pick her. But you want to leave this as long as possible anyway, because you kind of want to use this to fill out your team with the units that you're missing, right? Because you're going to spend most of your tickets while progressing through the game on your permanent banner. You don't want to use this and then roll a dupe, right? You want to use this once you're pretty much done with the permanent banner. You don't want to summon anymore. You want to save up for the targeted banners instead. Then that's when you use the targeted summon to fill out your team, or at least in roughly a few days to maybe a week. If by that point you don't have certain units to help you push some of the harder dungeons, then that's when you'd use a targeted summon. And in that instance, the 2 units that you would want are either Ramoka or Rosa, right? So one of these 2 units. Ideally, I think Ramoka is the best choice. If you don't get Ramoka by about a week's time, then I think that would be a good time to try to pull her on the targeted summon. For this banner, the pity is at 40 summons, so you're guaranteed to get whoever you pick after 40 summons, but you could get it earlier, right? As soon as you get the unit, this banner will close. And then these 2 are the targeted summons on launch. I believe this will last about just over a week, right? Don't pull on these because, well, at least starting with this one, these tickets are more expensive, and I don't think Messiah is that good compared to some of the other light darks. And on this banner, you can only get Messiah, right, as the SSR drop, and you can only get Kachi as the SR drop. And Kachi is one of the worst light dark SRs, in my opinion at least. Whereas if you pull on this one instead using these tickets, you can get any of the SSRs, right? And obviously the 3 targeted ones, which is Mia, Lily, and Heinrich, are the better ones, and therefore you're better off pulling on here. And then you can also get any of the SR ones, and most of the rest, aside from Kachi, are at least usable. Well, actually, in fact, they're all pretty good. I would say Kachi is the weakest, Valerian is probably the 2nd weakest, but the rest are, oh, actually no, Dorothy is probably the 2nd weakest, and then Valerian. Marvel, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, Dieting and Victor, they're all good units to have. So yeah, you want to use the Apex tickets on this banner. And this one also, I believe, has some sort of soft pity system. I'm not sure if it's shown here, but It's definitely much better to pull on these the permanent banner and this banner instead of the targeted ones. Eventually, once you're done with the permanent summon and you have most of the units currently here, that is when you would save up for the targeted banners, because on these banners you can only get that targeted unit, right? And therefore you would want to save summons for future units that haven't been released, because those will get their own solo banner here, and then that's when you can get those without worrying about pulling a dupe on the permanent summon. Additionally, the pity on this banner is 80, right? They've reduced it since the beta, which is quite nice. So you're guaranteed to get her at 80 if you were gonna pull for her, right? But you can get her on the permanent banner. That's why I don't recommend to get it, to use tickets yet on that banner. Maybe at least wait the week. If by the end of the week you don't have her and you really want to pull for her, then that's when you would do it on that banner, or the targeted banner, right? Alright, so those are the summons and the reroll strategies. Now for general progression, you will want to, of course, do the main story, right? This is level gated, so keep that in mind. But you just do it as much as you can until it's once you need a certain level to do the next stage. While you're doing that, you can also go into the challenges and do your farming stages, right? You can what I would recommend on during the first weeks is you want to refresh your stamina with crystals and then farm the highest stage possible on some of these. Now, there's a lot of debate on which ones you should focus on. Personally, what I would do is I would follow the hyperlink charter. This is basically your achievements and missions, right? Or there's actually a separate achievement section, but this is more like the beginner's journey type of quest, right? So for example, in Animus Fate, this will ask you to level Leanne and focus a lot of stuff on her, and she's the first unit you get, as she's also like the I guess the main character, the SSR character. You will want to build her, and she is very good, right? Despite her being like the free unit, she's actually one of the best DPS units, especially in the red element. Okay, so you basically go through these sections and you do the requirements, but only up to the amount that it asks you to do. So for example, on this one, Doki Doki is one of the gear farming stages. Because this stage is very low, you can actually also, it does allow you to do higher stages. So it's not like that it's not that urgent to do this on normal 2, right? You can actually wait and do it on a harder stage and then do it, the 10 times and clear that, and then progress to the next trial, right, to continue on. But you basically follow this and do the absolute minimum for most of it, right? And that way you don't waste too many stability points, which is the energy system, on low level stages. You want to do as high as possible, right? Now, if you're still level gated, you will need to use more some stamina to farm something, right, to progress your account, because the level or the experience that you gain is based on your stamina that you use and also the daily missions that give experience. Therefore, you will have to pick something to do some light farming on. My recommendation is either do the highest experience stage that you can, or you can do one of the shells. Some of the shells will require you to farm them multiple times, and don't forget that. I believe like Shadow Runner, you need to do like 20 times. I think you need 40 times or something like that. Even though you're not going to level that many of these shells, this is what the equivalent of the artifact system is. You will need to level like at least a few to begin with, because they will help carry you in the beginning, and that's one of the things I did. Any extras that you get, you can always recycle them. Alright, and you will probably eventually do that because these will get outdated very fairly quickly after like probably a few days. So in your inventory, you have your shells here, right? I haven't done it yet, but like these lower level ones, they're like very outclassed by the stuff I have already, and therefore it's better just to recycle them, and then you'll get the training or like the experience materials like from them, which is this thing, and you'll need a lot of these later on to upgrade your higher level shells. So it's not a bad thing to farm these stages, because as long as you're doing it with the achievement system in mind. For example, in here in the battle section for Grim Pursuit is the shell ones. You can see here I still have to do another 40 times to complete this. You do want to complete it because this will unlock this achievement level part, and you get some crystals, and this, I guess, there'll be more later on. So you want to complete these, right? And these are some requirements. You see here, I've done Jax 10 times and Shadowrunner 10 times, and that's all I needed to do on those 2 fights, and that's when I stopped, right? Actually, I think Shadowrunner needs 20 for a different mission, I believe, in the Hyperlink charter. So you just do that when it asks you to do it. And that way you don't waste too much stamina, right? Then any extras, you can do either the experience stage, because you're going to need a lot of experience level units. There's a lot of different modes in the game, and a lot of like elemental requirements. You want like a team for each element, basically, eventually. At the beginning, you'll probably only focus on 1 or maybe 2 elements to begin with. But eventually, you want all 3 elements to cover different dungeons that have certain elements, and also other special stages from here, which I'll get into in a future video. Alright, so either Animus, or you can also do the Prowess materials. But wait at least until probably number 6, like stage 6, because this is when you'll get some purple ones as well. Again, like for most stages, the higher you do, the more efficient it is. But the good thing about doing the GP outpost is that these materials will help give you a lot of early game stats. What I'll show you here. So in your Prowess tab, you will upgrade, like you get basic stats, right? The level 2 and the level 2, level 3, etc. They require these lattices, which are very rare materials, right? Even if you're like paid to play, these you have to buy. You will want to buy some of these, right, to have enough to level or to like fully skill up the unit, or at least skill up the important skills, right? So, for example, for me on Liane, I'm probably mostly only going to level her skill 3. I'm almost there, right? So once this is done, I'll probably leave her alone for the time being until I need others. If I happen to need the other skills, I probably don't, because she's a good AoE nuker, and this is like the main skill that she cares about. But on the earlier stages of the skill ups, before you reach the one that requires the lattice, you do get these passive substats, right? And it's nice to have these as, you know, for your progression. They're fairly cheap because they only require the lowest rank of the outpost material. And this is a lot of easy stats you can get. You should, for any unit that you're using, you should at least do all these minimum upgrades before the lattice requirement. The same for the first skill, you can get some, like for this one you get attack. So that is like some easy stats you can get for progression to make your life a bit easier. Modules, you don't want to level them too high. I left them at +9. I think this is where I'm going to leave them at until I get some better quality pieces, because it will ask you to upgrade into level 12, but you don't want to upgrade these lower, like epic quality ones. There's like multiple tiers of gear which I haven't reached yet, but the higher tier ones you'll be more inclined to do it to level 12. And then for +15, you kind of want to wait on that until the highest quality, which I believe is called Mythic. If you do invest in some of these lower tier gear or modules, when you sell them, you'll get refunded about 45% of the cost, I believe, or like the cost that you put into it. If you upgrade shells and then disassemble the higher level ones, you'll get refunded 70% of the materials. Therefore, it's better to actually focus on the shells first, because you'll get more of it back once you're done with the lower level ones. But even these, like, if you max out a purple quality one, that's still fine, even if you replace it, because you can use this one on your like next batch of characters that you're leveling up afterwards, right? Once you're trying to branch out to more elements, right? You can use those for the time being, because the higher level shells will be very expensive. So you could just use this as a temporary shell until then. Alright, so for units, when you start out, there's a lot of guides out there that will specify specific units. And the thing that I don't like about those guides is that it's very dependent on whether you pull those units or not. For example, I actually didn't have like Chiaki, who's like one of the best turn gauge manipulators. I don't have Dina, who is the best defense breaker for the red element, which a lot of people will recommend. I'm also missing Sanya, who's the best SR healer as well. So yeah, I had to basically make do with what I have, right? And that's the key part of early game progression, is understanding what your units do and which ones are the most suitable to last you for a while. Now, to begin with, you should always build Lian, because you get her for free and she's the best DPS, and you have to build her anyway for the Hyperlink Charter. Then I pulled Giada as one of my SR units. Now, I do have a couple more SR units, which are Borgne and Chloros, but I'm personally not running any male characters just because I prefer running female characters. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that, but I like my waifus, what can I say? That's why I play Haze Reverb. Therefore, I did use the Giada, and then I used some fillers for just the beginning until I'm ready to sort of more decide on what I'm planning to build, right, for my final team. Now, so I used Lian, Giada, and then I used a couple of free units, which are Dorothy and number 41. Number 41 is good because she is a turn meter booster, and she's only a rare unit. You'll get plenty of these, and you'll max imprint them, which is the this for additional stats, right? Similar imprint system to Epic 7. So I used her. My plan originally was to use her until I get Chiaki, because Chiaki is like much better, especially after they nerfed number 41. She was actually really good before, during the beta, arguably better than Chiaki, which is probably why they nerfed her. But she is usable at the beginning in combination with Dorothy. Because Dorothy's heal is a little awkward in that, despite being a healer, she is scaling off attack on her heal, and that makes her squishy, right? If you're gonna like scale her to heal more, that means her healing is probably not the greatest on at least during the early game. Therefore, that's why I use number 41, because she also has a heal. It's not a main heal, but it's like a bit of off healing that you can help out with. Alright, so I used those two at the beginning, and then once I got Chiaki, I swapped to her. Similar thing with Dorothy. The idea with using Dorothy is use her until you get Sanya or some other healer, right? There's multiple healers. The one that I eventually got was the red Chiaki, so I'm actually using two Chiakis, at least two versions of her. So then I replaced Dorothy with her. However, I still use her a little bit, because I just slapped some like just some weak gear on her, and in stages where I can use multiple units or more than 4 units, sometimes I have to use a filler unit, so I just throw her in there. But eventually you just fade her out and don't waste like the star upgrade materials on her, because these are very rare. Yeah, and it just really depends on who you pull during your progression, right? And also at the start. You'll have about 75 or 80 pulls at the start, I believe, if you claim all the redeem codes. I'll put the redeem codes in the description in case you want to reroll. But yeah, you just see what you get from the first batch of summons, and then you just work out a decent team. You basically want a DPS, which is usually Lian, a healer for Dorothy, a turn meter booster. Alright, so that covers 3 of the roles that For most stages, you have 4 units to run. That leaves a 4th unit that is a flex slot. And that is just really up to what you pull for your SSRs. I got Shiada, so I used her. She's mostly a DPS, but you could also run pretty much anything you want in this slot. You could use like a debuffer would be ideal if you have one, like Dina or something like that. Alright, and now I want to talk about the energy system. The video is going a lot longer than I thought, so I will wrap it up just with the stamina now. With stamina refreshes, you can refresh 10 times with crystals every day. Each refresh costs 100 crystals for 100 stability. It's very consistent, and it's a very nice system because you always know how much you're getting, right? And all stages cost 10 stamina, so one refill is always going to be 10 stage runs. On the first refresh, it's discounted at 60. So some games like Haze Reverb, when you refresh more, it scales the cost up exponentially. I'm glad it's not like that in this game. So you should refresh with these, especially on the first couple of weeks, because you're going to be time gated on stamina. That is, and also levels, right? You need levels to unlock the certain specific areas in the game. So you want to be refreshing at least for the first couple of weeks until you reach level 50, which is the max level. Now these stamina potions, similar to Haze Reverb, you want to save these up because they have a 2 times drop event. In the beta, it was on the 2nd week. I'm unsure if it's going to be the same in the launch, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same. In which case, you want that's another reason to use your crystal refreshes, because you want to progress as high as possible to make the most out of these stamina potions for the 2 times drop. Because obviously, the higher the stage you run, the more efficient these stamina potions are going to be. So make sure you save those up at least for them until double resource comes out. Alright, that pretty much covers most of the things for day 1. Now, if you do everything, like most of the things that I recommended, you will reach probably around level 16 or 17. And that's where you want to be at, because the next stuff that will unlock will be roughly like 18, or I think 20 for the main story. I know 18 unlocks something, but I forgot what it is. But yeah, a lot of these other stages, require more levels. Also, like a minor benefit is that it does increase your stamina cap, makes it easier to not cap out. You want to make sure that you're not overcapped, of course, and the easiest way to do that is by just doing one of your farming stages on auto, right? Once you do a continuous battle, you can, you have to start it, and then you can click the back button to go back and do something else. You can manual your main story. That's like a very efficient use of time, and also to help you keep under your cap. Because at the start you'll be overcapped a lot, because you'll gain more stability each time you level up. Once leveling slows down a lot more during 20 plus, you won't have as big of an issue with overcapping. But of course, you want to have your stamina regenerating as much as possible. One other tip I will say before I'll leave it there is you want to make sure you join a union as soon as possible. This is like the guild system. You get freebie stamina for checking in, and the more people that check in, the more bonus stamina it gives for per day. You want to do your this is the guild boss, do that every day, and then these weeklies will unlock. It will give you extra resources for doing things that you're already going to do in the game, right? This is like farming your gear stages, your shell stages, etc. This will help you progress through this. This is also a joint weekly system where the points that you gain for doing your mission gets added to this, and then everyone in the guild will contribute to this, right? So you want to be in an active guild and get to the end by the end of the week, right? Okay, so that is pretty much it for this video. I will do another blog probably tomorrow and talk through a bit more advanced stuff about like gear farming and stuff like that. So yeah, leave a comment if you are playing Etheria Restart. If you want to see more of it, also let me know, because the more information I have about that gives me a better idea of how much I want to continue making the videos. If there's not much interest, there's not much point making them. I may as well just focus on the Haze Reverb videos. So yeah, give me your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.